Welcome back to Iraqi Dinar Alert, your go-to source for the latest analysis on the Iraqi dinar for years. The dinar has been wrapped in a whirlwind of questions, bold predictions, and intense speculation. Investors, analysts, and everyday people online are all asking the same thing. Will 2025 finally be the year we see a major rate change for the Iraqi dinar, with Iraq's economy showing some promising signs of improvement and the central bank pushing for financial reforms? The curiosity has never been higher. But is a significant revaluation truly on the horizon? Or are people's expectations getting way ahead of reality? In this video, we're going to break down everything you need to know, separating fact from fiction. First, let's quickly clarify what a currency revaluation actually is. A revaluation happens when a government officially increases the value of its currency compared to others. For the Iraqi dinar, a revaluation would mean one dinar becomes worth more in US dollars. This would boost Iraq's purchasing power, making imports cheaper for the country. For those holding dinar, it could mean a substantial profit. However, it's crucial to remember that major reevaluations are rare events. They typically only happen when an economy achieves deep fundamental stability. So, why do so many people expect a big dinar revaluation, often called the RV? The idea has been floating around since the early 2000s, especially after Iraq introduced its new currency notes following 2003. The belief is fueled by a few key factors. First, Iraq sits on some of the world's largest oil reserves, a massive source of national wealth. Second, the government has been publicly discussing and working on economic reforms. Third, the Central Bank of Iraq frequently talks about its goal of stabilizing the dinar. And finally, a vast network of online investment groups continuously circulates predictions and projections, keeping the hope alive. But the real question is, what part of this is based on solid facts, and what is just rumor? To figure out if a major rate change is realistic for 2025, we need to look at Iraq's actual economic position right now. Let's start with the good news. Oil remains the backbone of Iraq's economy. With global oil prices having been strong over the past few years, Iraq has seen a significant boost in its revenue. This increased government income helps strengthen the financial system and supports the dinar's value in the long run. Next, inflation. The Central Bank of Iraq has become more effective at managing inflation compared to the chaos of past decades. Lower, more stable inflation reduces pressure on the currency and is a key ingredient for stability. We're also seeing a slow but steady growth in foreign investment. Companies from China, the UAE, and Turkey are continuing to invest in Iraq's infrastructure and energy sectors. More investment means more capital flowing into the country, which is a positive sign for the national economy. Lastly, Iraq has started implementing banking system reforms, including digital banking initiatives and anti-corruption measures. These are small but vital steps toward building a healthier, more transparent financial system. However, despite this progress, Iraq still faces enormous challenges that most experts believe must be overcome before any major revaluation can realistically happen. The first major hurdle is political instability. Frequent changes in government and persistent internal tensions slow down the pace of economic reforms. A strong, unified, and stable government is considered essential for executing a major currency move. Then there's the issue of corruption. Iraq consistently ranks high on global corruption indexes, and many experts point to this as one of the single biggest obstacles to its economic growth and development. Corruption drains resources and undermines trust in public institutions. Security concerns also remain. Although the situation is much better than it was, Iraq still faces security challenges. These risks can deter foreign investors and slow down economic activity across the board. Finally, there's the heavy dependence on oil. Over 90% of Iraq's government revenue comes from oil exports. This makes the economy extremely vulnerable to fluctuations in global oil prices. A truly strong currency needs to be backed by a balanced, diversified economy, not one that relies so heavily on a single commodity. Because of these significant challenges, most mainstream experts argue that a sudden, dramatic rate change is highly unlikely in the near future. So, what are the experts actually predicting for the dinar in 2025? Financial analysts generally fall into one of three camps. First, you have the optimistic analysts. They believe the dinar could slowly strengthen over the next few years. They point to the improved oil revenue, the ongoing economic reforms, rising foreign investment, and government restructuring as reasons for their positive outlook. However, even these optimists are not forecasting a massive overnight surge. Instead, they expect a slow and steady improvement over time. The second group, which is the largest and most mainstream, consists of the realistic or neutral analysts. Their consensus is that a major revaluation in 2025 is very unlikely. They argue that Iraq needs many more years of sustained stability and reform before it is in a position for such a move. They believe any rate change in the near term will probably be gradual and cautious. Small upward adjustments might be possible, but huge, life-changing leaps are not. They often warn investors to be wary of unrealistic predictions circulating online. Finally, there are the skeptical analysts. This group believes the dinar will likely remain near its current value for a long time. Their reasoning is that Iraq's economy still has fundamental structural weaknesses that can't be fixed overnight. They point out that true re-evaluations rarely happen suddenly, and that many of the RV predictions originate from online speculation and unverified sources, not from credible financial institutions. Their advice is one of extreme caution. So, what conditions would be required for a major revaluation to even be on the table? Experts generally agree that Iraq would need to achieve several critical milestones. These include establishing a stable, long-term government with corruption firmly under control. The country would need to demonstrate consistent economic growth for several years in a row. It would have to fully modernize its banking and financial systems to meet international standards. It would need to keep inflation low and maintain tight control over its money supply. Crucially, it would need to diversify its economy, reducing its dependence on oil. And finally, it would need to earn the full confidence of the international financial community. While Iraq is making progress on some of these fronts, it is still in the very early stages of a long journey. With all that in mind, could Iraq still adjust the dinar rate in 2025? A small adjustment is certainly possible. A major revaluation or a sudden surge, highly unlikely in 2025. The Central Bank of Iraq's primary goal is stability. They may continue to strengthen the dinar slowly or implement other minor rate changes to manage the economy. But as of now, there are no official signals or credible evidence pointing to a large, imminent revaluation. This is why investors need to be extremely careful. Investing in the Iraqi dinar might seem tempting, but it comes with significant risks. First and foremost, there is absolutely no guarantee of a revaluation. Many predictions are based on rumors, not confirmed government plans. Second, the dinar is not a widely traded currency. It can be difficult to buy and even harder to exchange back into dollars at a fair rate. Third, the political and economic risk is very high. Any new instability in the region could negatively impact the dinar's value almost immediately. And finally, be aware of scams. The dinar market has unfortunately attracted sellers who make false promises to lure in hopeful buyers. The expert advice is consistent. Only invest what you can comfortably afford to lose. So, to conclude, is a major rate change for the Iraqi dinar coming in 2025? Based on all the current evidence and expert analysis, the honest answer is that a major revaluation or a sudden surge in 2025 is highly unlikely. Slow, gradual improvement is possible, but that's a very different scenario. Iraq is moving in the right direction. We're seeing better security, higher oil revenue, and a focus on stronger economic policies. But the country still needs more time to overcome its deep-seated challenges before a major currency shift can become a reality. The Iraqi dinar remains what it has been for years, a long-term, high-risk speculative investment, not a get-rich-quick opportunity. Thank you for watching. If you found this analysis helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to Iraqi Dinar Alert, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. We'll continue to track the developments and bring you the facts. See you in the next video.